Hola amigos, this is level 12 and today we are going to be talking about how at my new school, the second week there, how I split my chin open. So really quick, some trigger warnings. There is mention of blood, there will be mention of stitches, stitch removal, doctors, medical stuff. If any of that bothers you, please feel free to click away now. How exactly did I split my chin open? Well, I fell off my bed. That's the short version. If that's all you want to hear, then you can leave. But something I want to talk about the beds at this school is they're adjustable. The height of them are adjustable because you can bunk them, you can loft them. When lofting them would be putting at the highest point, bunking them you would put it somewhere lower, like down to the middle. And it's so like maybe you have a loft bed at home or you have a bed really close to the ground. It's so like you can have that option and also have the option of having more or less space under your bed to put your bookshelf and other things. It's a lot. But the bed, I believe at their highest point I measured was near 5 feet. And I'm too lazy. I was too lazy to move my bed down when I first moved in, and I couldn't get into my bed without either needing to jump into it or use the chair that was next to my bed for my desk as a footstool to get on the bed. And something I would like to say before I continue with the rest of the story is, so usually I sleep on my side. So I slept facing towards the wall pretty much every night, and the night I fell off my bed, I slept pretty stupidly close to the edge. I don't know why I decided to sleep that way, and I guess because I figured I don't really move around much in my sleep, it would be fine, but lo and behold, it was not. So we're just going to stay on this slide because I don't feel like, not animating, but like putting the pictures on the slide and talking over them and timing it. No. No. Your girl too lazy for that. So sit back, relax, get some popcorn, get some drink. We're doing this podcast style. So it was August 30th, the day before September 1st, because it was September 1st that we were all freaking out about because, oh my gosh, we stayed up so late. Anyways, so August 30th, I woke up on the floor at like 2:30 a.m. So I fell off my bed. I woke up in the middle of falling. Like, I remember falling and I knew something was wrong. Like, it wasn't asleep. Like, it wasn't like you feel how you know how like if you fall in a dream it feels very weird. I knew this was real time me falling on the floor. And because the floor, by the way, is not carpet, it's tile, and it's hard tile, and I made a very loud thud when I fell on the floor. And my roommate turned on one of the lights in the room because we have an overhead light over where the beds are, and then in the entrance there's a light over the mirror. And my roommate turned on the light, and I had pulled my hand away to start like pushing myself up to see, okay, is my leg broken? Because my leg kind of hurt. Is one of my arms broken? Because I think I fell on one of my arms kind of weirdly. Is anything hurt or damaged that needs to be fixed right away? And when I moved my hand over to see, half of my hand was covered in blood. And I told my roommate, who we're going to call, we'll just call her Kat because that's her nickname. I told Kat, you need to get the RLC. I'm bleeding. And Kat turned off the light and went down the hallway, and I went in and out at this point because I saw my hand was bleeding. I was freaking out. I didn't know what I had cut. I figured it was my chin because as I was like lifting up, that was where my hair was sticking because of the blood, and my leg hurt. I tried to push myself up, but like I was just too out of it to do that. And so there's two parts of the story. There's me in the room and then Kat outside in the hallway. So in the room, I went through a phase of silently crying and then screaming for help because we live in a suite in so there's our room, a bathroom, and then our suite mate's room. And I thought, okay, maybe I won't get attention of the people in the hallway, but I'll get my suite mate's attention. So I start screaming as loud as I humanly can. And according to Kat and our other roommate, who we'll call Beetlejuice because she was wearing a Beetlejuice shirt when we first met her, it's a big thing, big inside joke. She apparently heard me from she lives pretty, like 4 doors down from us in the dorm hall, and she heard me loud and clear standing outside her door. So I don't know why my suite mates didn't hear me. And then finally I started hyperventilating and crying because I thought I had split my chin open so much that I was going to bleed to death or something like that. And then my final reaction was, okay, let me press the blanket to my chin and I'll go across the bathroom and wake up my suite mates and be like, y'all need to do something. I don't know what's happening. I'm bleeding. That never happened. I got about 5 inches from where I originally fell before, like, I was just like, okay, I'll die. And to me, it felt like 10 minutes, but I think I was going in and out of consciousness, or like just time just sped up, slowed down, whatever it did, because I was actually on the ground for 30 minutes because when Kat left, she had her phone but did not have her ID, so she couldn't get back in the room, and she did not. On our IDs, we have 3 numbers, one for the front desk, one for security, and then one for the RLC office, and someone is always on the phone for the RLC, and the RLC stands for Resident Life Coordinator. They're college graduates, they have degrees in like education, child rearing, whatever, and they're there to make sure, we don't die. Kat didn't have that. So Kat, each floor has its own RLC. So Kat originally went to our RLC's door and banged on it. She didn't get up. She went to the RA, who is a college student who has shown promise for like child rearing, and like they live on the floor, and they like make sure we're in our rooms. They do a lot of things. And she banged on that person's door, didn't get an answer. She banged on Beetlejuice's girl's door, and the first time Kat banged on the door, Beetlejuice had apparently been having a nightmare of someone sitting in a chair, thought it was another suite mate, and we had already had a ghost incident on our floor, so Beetlejuice girl thought it was the ghost. Then Beetlejuice girl hears Kat running down the hallway to our natural helper, who is another student who just kind of guides us through like our schoolwork and is supposed to be like a confidant. Kat banged on our natural helper's door. No one answered. The girl in there didn't answer. So Kat went back down to Beetlejuice girl's room, banged on the door, and like that's when Beetlejuice girl opened it, and that's when I started screaming because I was very scared. I thought I was going to die. Obviously I did not. And they're like, okay, we'll call the RLC on the number. And they called the RLC, and the guy picked up the phone. The guy's name is Austin, and he's great. He just didn't know what to do with the situation. He was the peak of comedy in this situation, and I love him for it. And I was very rude to him, but again, thought I was gonna die. And when you think you're going to die, you're not really your most polite self. Let me just tell you that. So they call the RLC on duty. It's Austin. Austin picks up and he's like, hello. And Kat, who thought I was basically dead on the floor at this point, started just being like, my roommate's on the floor. She's bleeding. And the guy asked her to repeat it. And we live on the 4th floor. And this man took the stairs to the 4th floor. And like you could hear him on the phone kind of taking his sweet time. And he got up the stairs. It's like 3 a.m., 3:10 a.m. Kat and Beetlejuice girl are standing outside our room, and he just goes to them, good morning. And they're just like, there's someone in there dying, and that someone is yours truly. And he's like, what's wrong with her, or what she's doing? And Kat doesn't know what to answer. She knocks on the door, and she had come by at one point and lied to me so I would calm down that there's help on the way, when there really wasn't. Kat was still trying to get someone awake. Oh, she also knocked on our suite mate's door. They also didn't answer, even though they seem like they're light sleepers. I don't know. I'm surprised no one got up. But anyways, it's over now. I'm fine. I'm alive. And she, so the guy's like, what's she doing? And Kat's like, I don't know, dying? So Kat knocks on the door, or he knocks on the door. I can't quite remember. I'm pretty sure it was Austin. So Austin knocks on the door, and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm very fed up at this moment because I thought Kat had gone all the way downstairs to go get the RLC because I hadn't heard anything in the hallway. Again, I had no idea how long I had been on the floor. And he's like, what are you doing? And I go, I'm bleeding. And Kat turns to him and goes, she's bleeding. It's the funniest thing. And then he's like, where are you? And I'm like, on the floor. And then he's like, can I come in? And I'm like, yes, please. Like, I progressively got less rude because I thought he'd leave or he'd write me up for something. I don't know. There was a million things going on in my head. One of the other things was I had a quiz in English the next day. And I'm like, how the heck am I going to do this quiz in English? It was a lot. Anyway, so he opens the door, he turns the light on, and I end up pushing myself up from my my blanket, which I had used to try and stop the bleeding. It's covered in blood. there was a good amount of blood, and my hand is also covered in blood. And he's like, "Can I see your chin?" And he called Nurse Patty, who's our on-call nurse, and he looks at my chin and he's like, "Yeah, it's kind of bad. I don't know if she'll need stitches or not. I think it's just a gash." And Nurse Patty explained to him where, like, the antiseptic was, which I left in the room, and now my room is kind of flammable. Some ginger ale, which I love the ginger ale, and bandages and gauze and stuff like that. And he's like, "All right." And he tells me to sit up, so I sit up, and I just kind of, and he gets a towel from Kat's little caddy thing, and he like cleans the blood from my face. He was so sweet, and in any other moment this would have been like from one of those cheesy romance novels, but I'm a scared 16-year-old girl who that night I was wearing pants with a rip in the side. Like, it was a lot. It was terrible. I wanted to die and cry, and it was horrible. And so I sit on the floor, wait for him to come back. Pat, Beetlejuice girl, and I were all just shooting the breeze. He comes back with gauze, antiseptic, and he's like, and he, the antiseptic is hydrogen peroxide, and he like fills like he comes back. And he's like, "Ah, dang, the stairs nearly killed me." And I'm like, "I'm bleeding." I didn't tell him that, but in my head, that's what I thought. And he's like, "I have hydrogen peroxide, bandages, and ginger ale." And I love ginger ale, for any of you that don't know. It tastes really good. So he's like, "This may hurt." And let me tell y'all, I don't have much feeling in my chin anymore. And at that point, I definitely didn't have feeling in my chin. So I didn't expect it to hurt. So he puts it on the thing. And like at this point, I just really don't care. And what I ask him is, am I going to get in trouble if I curse for this? Because I thought I was going to scream out an expletive. And he's like, "Never." And he puts it like near my chin. I don't feel it, but he's like, "Ah, yeah, I can hear it sizzling." And I'm like, "What?" And so he presses it harder to my chin, and I don't feel anything. I feel none of this. The only thing I felt in regards to my chin in the past, like, 2 weeks are the stitches being put in, and when I tried to crack my knuckles on my chin. That was painful. So after, like, the antiseptic and all that, he tries to put a bandage on. He got one that was way too small, and because the wound is, like, cleaned now, he can kind of see it's kind of a deep gash. He goes back downstairs to get a bigger band-aid, and when he comes back up, he has 2 security guards with him. I don't know why, but he made it seem like it wasn't that big of a deal. They're like, and they made me call my mom, and he was like explaining to my mom, "Yeah, it's not bleeding anymore." And he eventually went out to the hallway to discuss with her, and the security guards are like, "Yeah, it's not bleeding anymore because there's a big hunk of meat stopping it from bleeding." And Kat, Beetlejuice girl, and I are all like, "What? They kind of lied to me about how bad the injury was, because I asked them how bad was it, and I told them to lie to me, so it was kind of horrifying." But yeah, when they're like, "Yeah, there's meat hanging out of your chin," and I'm just like, what? Anyways, while Austin is still in the hallway talking to my mom, by the way, it's like 3:30 a.m. at this point, Kat has a little caddy that has like her towels, chargers, extra little things like that don't really fit anywhere else. And one of the security guards asked her, "Where'd you get this? It's kind of nice." And I'm just like, Target. And it was the funniest thing. And I think they did that because, Kat, Beetlejuice girl, and I, we were all just shooting the breeze. We were joking. I was sitting in a chair. The blood from the floor had been cleaned up. All the bloody things were, away from sight. Very disgusting. And so he comes back, he hands me my phone, and I start talking to my mom, and my mom's like, "Do you need to go to the emergency room?" Because the only place that's open at this time is the emergency room. And I don't even know if there's an actual emergency room in the town where the school is. I think we might have had to go to my hometown, which is only 30 minutes away, where there is an actual 24/7 ER. I'm not entirely sure what we would have done, but they then lower my bed. I thought it was like even lower than my own bed, but it's still higher than the bed I have at home, but not nearly as high as it was before, and it's safer for me. So after all of that, I hang up with my mom, and Austin asked me, "Okay, do you want to go to the hospital or the ER now, or would you rather wait in the morning when the urgent care opens up at 8 a.m. and you can go see the nurse Patty?" And I'm like, "I'll wait," because I didn't know it was that bad. And he puts a bandage on, and they leave, and Beetlejuice girl, like, she sleeps over with us. She doesn't sleep. Kat sleeps a little, like, in that weird lieu of sleep, and I get, like, an hour of rest. And then in the morning at 7 a.m. when the nurse arrives, I had bled through my bandage by now. I had a feeling I would bleed through it. She tries to, like, fix it, trying to see if I needed stitches, and I did. We eat breakfast. We unload the story onto this girl who we'll call Natasha. And Natasha really didn't deserve that, but Natasha got that. I'm so sorry, Natasha. You didn't deserve to hear our entire spiel about the night before of it being a panicked mess. It was a lot. Then after we had breakfast at like 7:30, the urgent care, minute clinic, doctor in a box, whatever you want to call it, didn't open till 8 a.m., so we had to wait till then. The RLC on duty, who was actually the RLC on my floor, who did not wake up when we banged on her door, or Kat banged on her door, drove me to the minute clinic urgent care. I'm very scared to get stitches, but I was told the lady there that do the stitches really loves it. She did. I got, I believe, about 6 or 7 stitches. I'm not entirely sure. I asked her how many I would get, and she's like, I don't know till I start doing it because of how long you waited to come to the urgent care. It has swollen. We have to sew around the nerve. I think they actually ended up sewing through a nerve or something. I can't exactly remember. But my first class was at 9 a.m. So we got back to school at like 9 o'clock, right when my first class started. I had to go to the nurse. She gave me some things to clean my wound. There's a huge bandage on my chin. I go upstairs, get my bag, and I go to my first class of the day, which is Native American Studies. And the nurse had already sent an email to my teachers being like, I might not be in class today. I knocked on the door. My Native American Studies teacher opens the door and he just looks at me like, oh, I heard. And because my chin is full of Novocaine, because that's how they stitched me up, they put Novocaine in my chin so I couldn't feel it, even though I did feel the first one, because I felt it, because they didn't Novocaine me enough. I was really out of it. So your girl didn't really remember her classes for that day. Took my English quiz, made an 80 on it. A couple kids asked me what was up with the bandage. Not many did. I just go through my week with a bandage on my chin because, again, there's stitches in it. And then the next Friday, a week after my chin, I got my stitches removed. There was a scar. Nothing else really major happened. It was really gross. I had to clean the stitches out twice a day. It was disgusting. But I have them out now. I now have a scar on my chin. And I had a cleft chin before I went to school. Now I don't have a cleft chin anymore. I think that's very telling. But, yeah, so that's how I split my chin open. If you have a bed and it's very high and you have a tile floor with no carpet, lower it or get a carpet, get a rug, get something, because you might end up like me. Also, there's thunder because it's hurricane season. Anyways, so that's the story of how I split my chin open. It's great. I tried to crack my knuckles on my chin last Tuesday in chemistry because I thought I had no feeling in it. I did. I do. Kind of hurt. Kind of not fun. But whatever. We'll get over it. Anyways, hope you like this little story. My school adventures. It's great. Anyways, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more random fandom things. Ciao, chicos.